Good evening and welcome to the beautiful historical Marionette Theater. Tonight we're going to be discussing a mid-80s television movie. It's a drama, folks, by someone who's legendary for their comedy career. A little bit of a heavy subject, but it's well worth to sit through, and you'll just grab your seats, folks. The show will begin shortly. Oh, good evening, folks. Here in the balcony at the Marionette Theater, the scenery's changed. Well, just a slight. You see, we we had a family emergency, so Choppy is not going to be joining us tonight. However, from the Golden Coast, well, maybe a little inland from that, is our dear friend, returning guest, and every now and then pinch hitter, Matt from the Chubbs Gone Wild and Big Gay Sex Show, The Daddy Years. And a round of applause if I could stop doing this. Good evening, Matt. How are you this fine night?
I am doing well. I'm doing my Lucille Ball impression. Um, I am recovering from a cold, but I am proud to be here.
Oh, and so you survived the first of the holidays, huh?
Oy vey, yes. Yep, yep, I'm here. I'm alive.
You're just ready to kick off the next party, aren't you?
Oh yes, it's gonna be fabulous this Sunday. We're
Mm.
gonna be. I don't know. We're gonna be playing Cards Against Humanity.
Oh.
So I hear it's popular. I hear it's a very sweet game with very nice things to say about everybody.
So well mannered and
Yes, I'm
polite,
looking forward to it. I'm a polite boy.
just like our leading lady in tonight's film. Now, speaking of parties and kicking things off, tonight we are joined by a special returning guest. Please give a round of applause to our favorite cosplay and drag artist from the Mid-Atlantic, Demanda Martini. Well, hello, my dear. How are you this fine night?
I am great. It has been a very long 2023. Very excited to. I do have a few remaining gigs here in 2023, and then taking a few weeks off to spend with the family for the holidays, and also really kind of like prepare for the onslaught that is the beginning of 2024. Um, but yeah, it's been going well. Just busy, booked, and blessed.
Hmm. Well, it was so kind of you to take a break from your very daunting, busy schedule, especially appearing in those centerfolds with Santa. What did I hear? A rumor? No.
Santa
Oh,
wishes.
oh. Well, usually we have our senior showgirl in the house to tell us what's going on tonight, but she gets a little shy when there's another lady around. So I hear that she's sitting this out tonight. If you'll get down to the stage for us, we have a little intro we're gonna play. Okay? All right, here we go, folks. This is Jamanda giving us her best.
Carrie is a young woman right out of college working her first job as a counselor for the unhoused in the Big Apple. She's struggling to adapt her skills until one day she sees an opportunity. A woman named Florabelle thinks Carrie's been turned out and begins teaching her how to survive on the streets. All seems to be going well until one evening the older lady disappears when she is mistakenly abducted and taken to a shelter. What happens when Flora finds out Carrie's a fake? Get yourself some comfortable shoes. We're walking the streets of New York. It's time for Stone Pillow with Lucille Ball and Daphne Zuniga. Take it away, fellas.
And theme music.
What do you get when you take a dash to the silver screen? A pinch of golden oldies, and a smidgen of screaming. It's time for Matinee Minutia with your hosts DJ and Toppy.
That's Matt and tonight. Alrighty, so as you heard, our lady in the house here tonight, Amanda, told us about the TV movie that we're discussing tonight. And this is a TV movie, one of those little hybrid things, It didn't go to the theaters, but if you were staying home, then you might have caught it. Now, of course, this is before we had DVRs, and if you were lucky, you remembered to set your VCR. So who knows? Maybe you missed it the first time around. But this is
in 1985. They were setting their Betamax.
Oh, yes. So, Matt, there's a little something that we talk about here as we get ready for the year.
Yes, we do. One of the things that we do here at Matinee Minutia is we like to set the stage. And what that means is that we talk about what was going on in the world in 1985 when this film premiered. So, DJ, take it away.
Okay. U.S. history in 1985. Oh, it was a big year, believe it or not. In Hollywood, California, the charity single, We Are the World, is recorded by USA for Africa. And like the enormously successful Do They Know It's Christmas, that was recorded by Band-Aid in the UK 2 months prior, the single raises money to combat the ongoing famine in Ethiopia. The American act consists of high-profile performers, including the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Miss Tina Turner, my personal favorite, Cyndi Lauper, and the Grande Dame Diana Ross.
Also,
Yeah.
fun fact, Dan Aykroyd accidentally walked into the studio and they were like, hey, come on in. So if you watch the music video, you can see Dan Aykroyd in it.
Oh my.
I wondered why he was there. Also, Whitney Houston released her solo debut album at the tender age of 21.
Oh. The Food and Drug Administration approves a blood test for AIDS used since then to screen all blood donations in the U.S.
Oh, and don't forget that the 57th Academy Awards, hosted by Jack Lemmon, are held at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in Los Angeles, with Milos Forman, Amadeus, winning Best Picture. And Best Director, Forman's second win, along with, 6 other awards out of 11 nominations. The film also tied in nominations with David Lean's A Passage to India.
In April of 85, Coca-Cola changed their recipe. No, not the way you think. They didn't bring back that illegal ingredient, but it became New Coke at the time. The response was overwhelmingly negative, and the original formula was brought back on the market in less than 3 months. And eventually, there was so much confusion, they had things called the Coke Classic, and then eventually they just took the Classic name off because, you didn't have a choice anymore. They didn't have 2 recipes.
Well, and I think that was what caused the 41 tornadoes that hit Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and Ontario, killing 76 people.
They were so mad. There was a dash to all the stores. They didn't have dollar stores then yet, though. Oh, in 85, it was an important time for folks like tonight's leading lady, Lucy. Nick at Night, a nighttime program service with an emphasis on classic television reruns, is launched in the United States. being broadcast on the same channel as Nickelodeon, and you knew it was time for Nick at Night because it was after dinner, and Mom and Dad let you watch wholesome television because, it was like Ozzie and Harriet and Mr. Ed.
That is how I got to watch so many classic programs and understand the generation before me. Commodore also launched the Amiga personal computer at the Lincoln Center in New York City.
That was an important innovation. I know that there were some special effects that were made possible by the Amiga. I think that at that time, they may have animated the opening sequence for Doctor Who. So in 85, the first smoking ban, believe it or not. Now, think about this, folks. You were still allowed to smoke on airplanes in 85, but the first smoking ban for restaurants happened in the great state of Colorado, the Centennial State, because it became a state in 1876. Also, one of the highest points of elevation in the U.S., but in Aspen, that resort town, they said, nope, we're not going to let you smoke in our restaurants.
Wow. Well, don't forget that. A little man named Mario popped into the world when the Nintendo Entertainment System was released in U.S. stores.
Uh,
I loved that. I played, Zelda. Hours and hours and hours I played that game.
I remember when Dad bought a Nintendo because, I think he probably bought it at Sears, just like his Atari, but he played it precisely once. And, Dad had some hand-eye coordination problems because he had an injury from an old factory job. But he just plainly put to me, son, you can have it. It's too fast for me.
Did you ever finish any of the Mario games?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I did. I had blistered thumbs for ages back then.
Yeah, I managed 1 and 3 and 2. What was 2?
Oh,
A weird game.
For ages, I also used to get gifts of a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine.
Ooh.
And back in the day, they used to give out a free game title if you prepaid for a year. So, and then the last of the important events in 1985 was Mr. Bill Gates, of course. He got his claim to fame because Microsoft released the first version of Windows 1.0.
Wow, I think I know some businesses that still use that.
Right?
I think the city of DC still uses that.
So, in addition to all those things that happened in 1985, looking back on things now from the year this film came out, we have a bunch of people who graced us with their presence. The stork dropped them off at Mom and Dad's doorstep. Who were the celebrities born in 1985, Matt?
Well, let's start with Haley Duff, who is the older sister of Hilary Duff, and is also known for Seventh Heaven. That was the Mormon show, wasn't it?
Not really Mormon, but it was definitely super conservative Christian.
Okay. Lizzie McGuire, she was also with Lizzie McGuire and Napoleon Dynamite, which I've never seen. I know, right? Rachel Neighbors from Harrisburg, PA, was born and became a cartoonist. Yay!
In honor of our missing nerd brother tonight, Toppy, I thought he would appreciate learning about a cartoonist born that year.
What was her strip?
There was a few things, but I hadn't heard of any of them.
Okay. But she was born. Yay!
Right?
All right. Kellen Lutz, a fashion model, and also was in Twilight and the Immortals and The Legend of Hercules. And Oh, one of my favorite people, Sonequa Martin Green from Walking Dead and Captain Burnham in Star Trek Discovery. I love her. I love her so much. Tydrick Hall, singer, songwriter, actor, director, choreographer, and YouTuber known for his role in Kinky Boots.
And for not paying his dancers.
Oh, she went there.
I sure did. Because listen, the gays love to be like, oh, let's go see Tydrick. I'm like, I don't know. Is he paying everybody on tour? Has he solved his mortgage problem that he seems to have?
Well, on that show, he was like, "It's all fake. It's all fake."
Sure. Sure.
Also, Lana Del Rey, musician with 9 studio albums since her 2010 debut. Wow, she's busy.
The saddest girl ever.
Ashley Tisdale. Wow, that's a real person, huh? She was known for High School Musical and Scary Movie 5. And she just released 3 studio albums. Yay!
First of all, Sharpay is an icon. Her character from High School Musical.
I haven't watched it in so long I forgot. Also, Mary Wiseman, who is Tilly on Star Trek Discovery.
Yay for gingers!
And I'm so glad she's coming back. Oh, I was worried she wasn't gonna be there anymore. I love her. Also, oh God, her. Kaylee Cuoco from The Big Bang Theory and with the actress that woman ruined the last season of Charmed. Ugh.
She's also Bill Shatner's replacement for the Priceline commercials.
She's a mess. Sorry, I seemed rather bitter there. I don't know why. Also, Raven Simone, actor, musician with 4 studio albums, and got her start as Olivia on The Cosby Show, and has come out and married a fabulous woman and is an icon. Oh, also Anna Kendrick, known for Twilight and Perfect Pitch, and she is fabulous.
And the youngest Tony nominee ever.
Yes! That's awesome.
Yes.
She deserves it. She's fabulous.
Yeah, she was a Tony nominee before she went on and did her first movie, Camp, which is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, that's a great movie.
And then she just like had to go back to high school.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
And also wasn't she nominated for an Oscar as well for something? Was it Up in the Air? Was she at least like Golden Globe nominated? Because I know that like George Clooney and Vera, whatever her last name is, I think they were nominated as well. But I want to say Anna Kendrick was nominated for an Oscar for Up in the Air as well. In fact, hold on, I'm gonna Google that real quick.
Because she certainly should be.
Anna Kendrick. She is a so she's nominated for a Tony. So yes, she was nominated for an Oscar for Up in the Air.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
Really so. So, DJ.
Yes, sir.
I want to know what was on television
in 1985. Well, I'm so glad you asked, because Stone.
Was it V?
I believe so. That was one of the movies that year. Now, Stone Pillow, the TV movie that we're talking about tonight, that stars the fabulous, legendary Lucille Ball. It was a TV movie, and it probably aired on a Sunday. Now, in that time of the year, over on each of the networks, because, back then, think Yonder and the old chapters of the book there was a time when we only had 3 network stations. The ABC,
so
the American Broadcast Company, CBS, which is Columbia Broadcast System, otherwise known as the Big Brother, the eyeball, and then the National Broadcast Company, the Peacock. Now, on Sunday nights, just before all of those stations had a movie of the week at about 9 o'clock, because, once the kiddos are chucked into bed because they've got school on Monday, mom and dad stay up for a little while and have a little drinky poo while they watch their favorite actors. So, leading up to the 9 o'clock hour on ABC was MacGyver. So if you were, trying to get your DIY fix on there, or maybe you just like some eye candy. And
Pretty.
let's see, on CBS, which was where Stone Pillow was aired, at that time of the year, they were showing Murder, She Wrote, which was still in its initial run and then.
Iconic.
Yes.
Iconic.
And then on NBC, they had a series which was written and produced by Mr. Steven Spielberg. It was Amazing Stories, which did bring us quite a few amazing stories. So Lucy, the leading lady from tonight's film, has actually appeared on all three networks, and Stone Pillow was slated to was made for CBS. And then her forthcoming last effort sitcom was pitched to them, and they didn't pick it up. Don't know why, but hey, here
it was bad.
So here we are talking about it. All right. So if you are anyone who's listened to our show before, you know that we like to tell you about all the people behind the scenes that made this possible. And the person behind the camera that tells this story is the director. Matt, if you would, tell us a little bit about the director who was the main reason why Lucy agreed to do this movie.
Well, I did so much research. I spent like a week on this. So let's see. So the director, aka the magician of the film, George Schaefer, who was born in Connecticut and known for the CBS Playhouse, 1967. The Scottish play, I shall not say the name, 1960, and Beverly Hills Cop 3 in 1994. Very diverse body of work there. He began his directing career while serving in the U.S. Army Special Services during World War II and directed over 50 plays for the troops. Then, after he was discharged, he directed for Broadway, the Broadway Theater. His first production was Shakespeare's Hamlet, starring Morris Evans. In 1953, he won a Tony Award for his production of The Tea House of the August Moon, which he co-produced with Evans. So, quite accomplished in the theater. During the golden age of television, he directed numerous TV adaptations of Broadway plays for NBC's Hallmark Hall of Fame. His first episode for Hallmark was an adaptation of his Broadway staging of Hamlet, starring Evans. And in the 1980s, several of his productions for Hallmark aired in syndication under the title George Schaefer Showcase Theater. His television work garnered him 5 Emmys out of 21 total nominations, so quite impressive. He also won 4 Directors Guilds of America awards out of 17 nominations. He holds the record for the most DGA award nominations, and he also directed 5 theatrical productions, but to limited success. So, from 1979 to 1981, he was president of the Directors Guild of America. He was a board member of President Ronald Reagan's National Council on the Arts from 1982 to 1988. And in 1985, he was appointed chairman and later associate dean of the UCLA School of Theater and Television, where he stayed until 1991. So basically, during the 80s and 90s, he served on advisory board to the National Student Film Institute. And he was an honorary chairperson of the Institute for a 1-year term. Now, at the time of his passing, he was 76 years old, and in 97 had directed 105 films. His last project was the 96 TV movie Harvey, a remake of the 1950 James Stewart film starring Harry Anderson and Leslie Nielsen. And wow, was that a show.
Oh,
What a career.
once I read about that last bit there, it actually makes me want to dig up a copy. Sounds like a pretty good cast. So,
Well, Harry Anderson, I mean, he's brilliant.
yeah, I can't imagine him working with Leslie Nielsen because I don't think there's a Leslie Nielsen movie that I didn't like.
Oh, he's special.
Yes. All righty. So we are at about the halfway mark in our show. We're going to step on over here to the snack bar where it's open bar, folks, because Gertie left the house. They didn't screw any caps down. The wax marks have been removed from the bottles. So, ante up, folks. All right. For your listening enjoyment, we have a interview with Lucille Ball on The Tonight Show. And from time to time in the 80s, before she got her own show, Joan Rivers would fill in for Johnny. So this is an interview with Lucille Ball and Joan Rivers. And if you are participating in our Discord chat room, I have pasted a copy of the clip that I'll be playing. So here we go. This is about 4 minutes.
Which is on November 5th. She is the queen of comedy. Somebody told me that she is she holds the record for being let me put it right. She holds a record for having been on television more times, more hours than any other performer in its entire history of the industry. She is just wonderful and terrific, and I'm so glad to have her to visit us again, Miss Lucille Ball. Give us a typical Lucille Ball day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I do a lot of things, but I couldn't give you a typical day. I'm traveling a lot now, and I'm pushing Stone Pillow at the moment, so
Yeah.
I'm really going.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why did you wait so long to do a dramatic role?
I don't know.
You know?
Because I didn't get a script that I liked. The scripts are kind of scroungy, you know. Ugh. And I had an image of sorts that I personally liked, and I certainly don't want to just go out and do anything with 4-letter words and things that I don't dig. I took this script because I wanted to work with a great director, and I found one, George Schaefer. And Mr. Schaefer came up with this subject, and I thought, well, this is sticking my neck out, and I don't know what my fans will think, but I have to grow up sometime, and I have to, and at least this doesn't have anything that I object to, and it's not a cause célèbre, but it's something close to my heart I have compassion for.
Yeah.
But I didn't start it out as a, big...
Did you get a chance with, like, some actresses, the method? They go and they study the bag women and they become a bag woman. I mean, did you do anything like that? Did you?
No, I found it very easy to be a bag woman. Joan, if you ever want to go around New York incognito, that's it.
Just off
be a bag woman. Nobody looks at you.
Nobody recognized you with your costume?
We were out 33 days on the streets of New York. Not one person stopped in front and said, "You're Lucy, aren't you?" Not one person.
Unbelievable. What did you
I
do?
sat in one spot for 15, 20 minutes, an hour and a half. Not one person. They have a way of not seeing bag women.
Now,
Or the men, the winos, the weirdos, or the bag men. You can go any place you want except in to eat or into a restaurant.
Did you ever try that?
Yes, I forgot
you
one
really?
day. Yeah, I forgot how I looked, and I said, "Oh, let's go to that place. I've heard about that." And I went, and they wouldn't let me in.
And did you say finally I'm Lucille Ball?
No, I went. I left. I wasn't going to try to prove it. With the makeup I had on, I couldn't prove it. Well, you don't think I did it without makeup? For God's sake.
Talking with Lucille Ball. November 5th, Stone Pillow, right?
November 5th, Stone Pillow.
And you lost
9 o'clock out here, at least.
23 pounds doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Oh.
Well, up to a point.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't have to lose that much, but it was terribly hot, and we were supposed to be shooting in the middle of the winter.
See, at all
And
that.
I was dressed for grizzly February. And it was 98, 99, 100, 102, 105, 107. In one place, it was 122.
Oh.
Yeah, in a boiler room that we worked in. And with all the clothes and the wig and everything, I lost 23 pounds. But I don't mind losing most of that weight, except that it made me ill. And, you know, I have to put back some, but I don't want to put back the whole 23.
When you say ill, did you go to a hospital?
Yes, I did. And, you know, I hate hospitals.
And how long were you in the hospital?
5 days, I think.
That's too long.
Oh, I guess so.
Great. So, we should just thank Joan Rivers because of all of the costuming and the makeup and the wig, because they were not filming during the winter when she was expecting to. It was quite warm out, and for 30 some odd days in New York, she ended up losing 23 pounds and landed up in the hospital for 5 days.
Wow.
So, now, as you heard, Joan Rivers was conducting that interview. And just a quick pop quiz, Amanda, Matt, either one of you can buzz in. Do you know what Joan Rivers did to cause a falling out between her and Johnny Carson?
Yeah, she got her own show
Right
on Fox. And guess what? I still have the letter that I wrote to Joan saying how horrified and angry I was about all of that. And she wrote me back and sent me a very nice letter and everything. And then I wrote to Fox and I said, "You," and I used a lot of cuss words, which was weird because I was a teenager, so I really shouldn't have been doing that. And they wrote me back saying, "Well, we're so sorry that you're upset with us, but, you know, piss off, kid." So anyway, I still have that letter somewhere too.
Oh, so Amanda, as you know, our
Sorry, I realized I was on mute and I was talking.
Oh,
no.
As I'm still back in 2020. But no, I was gonna say, literally on my TikTok, they literally just posted. Someone posted a video of Joan while she was hosting her show, talking about the falling out between her and Johnny Carson, and it was because she got her own show. And again, there's like a lot of bad blood, but she was like, "Hey, I'm the first woman who has ever done this." They offered me, again, from what she said on her show, 15 times her salary that she was getting on Johnny Carson. So for anyone who has ever left a job, ever, and think about, like, are you going to stay on this job that you're doing fine with, or this other company coming along being like, "Hey, we're going to give you way more money"? I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
For sure. And again, especially as a female comedian, but yeah, it was a very tearful thing that she was doing, is like her opening monologue of her show, and instead of because they weren't allowed to play any clips on her show of Joan Rivers from the Johnny Carson show, because they weren't going to give up the rights to them to play them.
Mm-hmm.
She decided to then pay it forward on that show. That was like the show that was going to air before, like, the Johnny Carson final show. She invited like 5 brand new comics to come get their start on her show, which I thought was like a really nice thing for her to do, since she got her start on Johnny Carson. Anyway, enough about her.
Oh, so speaking of the the red, the ginger, the leading lady. We come up to the
Demanta?
well,
Me?
that
Me? For those of you who are watching us and not just listening, I am wearing some red hair this evening. I literally just refreshed it for this week. I went and saw the Pretty Woman musical came touring through DC. It's fun. Like, is it a great, brilliant show where you're gonna get like all kind of like emotions and like no? But are you gonna have a good time? Yes. And the two leading actors, they get quite steamy on the stage. Like, I was not expecting. Like, the thing is that, I mean, they kiss a little bit, but like just like in the movie, like you get the feeling that, oh no, they're about to fuck, and then the lights go black. Like, it's good. It's fun. It's a good time. I met both of the leading actors stage touring, and they're both very lovely people. And again, I wish the tour success. So, but speaking of the lady of the hour, so Lucille Ball, her character's name was Floribel. Her name was Lucille Ball, was born August 6, 1911 in Jamestown, New York. That's an hour and 20 minutes southwest of Buffalo, in case you needed to know. Her father died before she was 4, and her mother worked several jobs, so she and her younger brother were raised by their grandparents. Always willing to take responsibility for her brother and her young cousins, she was a restless teenager who yearned to make some noise. She entered a dramatic school in New York City, and while her classmate Betty Davis received all of the raves, but honestly, obviously Betty Davis was, she was sent home too shy. She found some work modeling for Hattie Carnegie's, and in 1933 she was chosen to be a Goldwyn girl and appear in the film Roman Scandals in 1933. She was put under contract to RKO Radio Pictures and several small roles, including one in Top Hat and 35. Eventually, she received starring roles in B pictures and occasionally a good role in an A picture, like Stage Door in 1937 or Big Street in 1942. While filming Too Many Girls in 1940, she met and fell madly in love with a young Cuban actor-musician named Desi Arnaz. Despite different personalities, lifestyles, religions, and ages, he was 6 years younger. He fell hard to, and after a passionate romance, they eloped and were married in November of 1940. Lucy soon switched to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, where she got better roles in films such as Dewberry Was a Lady in 43, Best Foot Forward in 43, and the Katharine Hepburn Spencer Tracy vehicle Without Love in 45. In 48, she took a starring role in the radio comedy My Favorite Husband, in which she played the scatterbrained wife of a Midwestern banker. In 1950, CBS came knocking with an offer of turning it into a television series. After convincing the network brass to let Desi play her husband and to sign over the rights to and creative control to them, work began on the most popular and universally beloved sitcom of all time. I Love Lucy ran from 1951 to 1957, 181 episodes, and the creative process involved in the production in turn made Lucy a pioneer in television, creating the standard 3-camera setup for studios. In 1962, she became the first woman to run a major television studio, Desilu Productions, which produced many popular television series, including Mission Impossible and Star Trek. She is the godmother of science fiction television, the fairy godmother. She was like, I'll produce that craziness. After Wildcat, she reunited with I Love Lucy co-star Vivian Vance for The Lucy Show, which Vance left in 1965. The show continued with Ball's longtime friend and series regular Gail Gordon until 1968. Ball immediately began appearing in the new series Here's Lucy with Gordon, frequent show guest Mary Jane Croft, and Lucy and Desi Jr. The program ran until 1974. Ball did not retire from acting completely, and in 1985, she took on a dramatic role, aka Emmy bait, in a television film, Stone Pillow. And the next year, she starred in Life with Lucy, which, unlike her other sitcoms, was not well received. It was canceled after 3 months. She did not appear in film or television roles for the rest of her career. At the time of her passing in 1989 from heart disease, Lucy had 121 acting credits.
Wow.
So, Jamanda, you had already mentioned she's the fairy godmother of sci-fi.
Yes.
The reason that we got Star Trek. Now, some of you may not be aware, but when Scott Bakula had his own Star Trek show, they had a little homage to Lucy because when the Vulcans were trapped on Earth before the events of First Contact, they had a moment in an episode where they were saying, "We have to stay home tonight because I Love Lucy is on." But Amanda, here's the pop quiz question. Do you know, besides the things we've mentioned, what other connection Lucy has to Star Trek? I'll give you a big hint. It has to do with one of her kids.
I want to say one of her kids was in one of them, but I can't remember. Again, I remember reading it on like Wikipedia forever ago, but I don't remember.
Okay, well, it was a bad movie, and it was directed by Bill Shatner, and it was a stepbrother. Any bells? Okay, so Lucy's daughter, also Lucille, married Lawrence Luckenbill, who played Spock's not quite all there brother Cybok in this fifth Star Trek movie directed by Bill Shatner.
Wow, that's going around Schenectady
I
to
mean,
get
listen,
to
we all know that Hollywood is interconnected.
Buffalo.
I mean, it's just like Liza Minnelli marrying was it the Tin Man's son? I mean, it's just one of those things that just kind of happens in Hollywood.
Exactly. I mean, like going to the public pool.
Right. I mean, you just marry the people who your parents are friends with's kids. Like that. I mean, isn't that what all of us kind of do too? It just so happens to be that they're famous.
Well, and I didn't meet my husband until I moved back home after living away for a decade. And coincidentally, he was living in the town that my grandparents did when I was a little boy. So, yeah, go figure fate. So, anyways, the next member of the cast, Matt, is the young lady who played the up and coming, or at least in her first job since college, social worker Carrie Lang. Who was that, Matt?
Oh, did you want me to talk about Carrie? I thought I was talking about Anna Marie.
Oh, you know what? Strike reverse it, as Willy Wonka would say. Hey, this is my microphone. Okay.
Because I wouldn't say anything nice about Carrie Lang, but you go ahead.
Alrighty. So Daphne Zuniga, say that 3 times fast, played Carrie Lang. She was born in the city by the bay there, San Francisco. Her mother is a Unitarian minister of Polish and Finnish descent, and her father, originally from Guatemala, was an emeritus professor of philosophy at California State University, East Bay. So, he was the guy you could talk to at a party. And in her early teens, Zuniga expressed interest in acting and attended the Young Conservatory program of the American Conservatory Theater of San Francisco. Lots of big words. After her parents' divorce, Zuniga moved with her mother and sister from Berkeley to, of all places, Reading, Vermont, where she spent the remainder of her teenage years. I guess she must have loved the fall. Zuniga graduated from Woodstock Union High School in Woodstock, Vermont, because, there's one in every state.
Apparently.
And in 1980, after which she returned to California and enrolled at the University of California, Los Angeles, where else, to study theater arts. After leaving college, Zuniga was close friends and roommates with fellow actress Meg Ryan. And before the show, we were talking about people who've disappeared from the public eye. Well, don't look far, because Meg Ryan is actually behind the camera these days doing directing. Now, just before Stone Pillow, Zuniga got her start acting in slasher and horror films. Oh, my husband probably knows all about her. And this was...
I'd watch her get killed.
Where was I? She was, let's see. Oh, just before. This was followed by a leading role opposite John Cusack in Rob Reiner's film The Sure Thing, also in 85. In 86, she starred as Princess Vespa in Mel Brooks' memorable cult comedy Spaceballs. And that's in 87, followed by a supporting part in the science fiction horror sequel The Fly 2. Did that have
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. From 92 to 96, Zuniga portrayed Joe Reynolds on the wildly popular soap opera Melrose Place, which garnered Zuniga wider mainstream exposure. Her role, that doesn't sound very appropriate.
No.
Her role on the series would be followed by numerous appearances on television series, including a lead role as Shelley Pierce on American Dreams from 2004 to 2005, and a recurring role on the popular CW series One Tree Hill. Sounds like a college band.
One Tree Hill was a show. So, sidebar.
Mhm.
One Tree Hill. So in like the early 2000s, when like the big thing was like go to Best Buy and like buy all of the DVDs of a TV show so you could binge all of them before Netflix. Me and my best friend and roommate at the time, we decided that we were gonna get two shows. We were just gonna buy two shows, their first seasons, and just see where it went. One was Grey's Anatomy, and then one was One Tree Hill. I loved One Tree Hill. Daphne Zuniga's character was like a kind of like a bitchy boss that comes in later, because obviously she is older than most of the like high school, college age kids that were on the show. But yeah, she was definitely like the bitch who came into town. She was a delight and a treat.
And
Huh.
her character was Victoria Davis, a role that she played from 2008 until 2012. When she isn't acting, Zuniga works for causes such as cleaning up toxic waste and counseling high school kids against the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Oh, so she went to the Nancy Reagan School of Charm. In more recent years, Zuniga has recently had guest appearances on the CW's Dynasty. Okay, fun fact, folks. There was a scene in the movie we're discussing tonight where in the shelter, they're in the lounge, the TV room, and what should be on television?
Dynasty! What a fun foreshadowing for her.
And also in 2022, she was on Fantasy Island, the remake, of course. And NBC, well, actually, it wasn't a remake. I think they considered a continuation. But then also in 2020, she was on NBC or CBS's NCIS. And as of 2023, Zuniga has 83 acting credits. Okay.
Wow.
We are now ready to find out about the sassy lady in the office with Carrie, the one who probably had more of her ducks in a row. Who was that lady? I think her name was Collins, was the character.
Oh, you mean Anna Marie Horsford, who played Collins. She was born in Harlem, and her parents immigrated from Antigua and Barbuda. And that was in the 1940s. And then she grew up in a family of 5 children, and she attended Wadley. You're giving me all these names, girl. Junior high school, and then the High School of Performing Arts. And after high school, she got into acting through the Harlem Youth Center for Change. And she was best known for roles like Thelma Fry on NBC sitcom Amen, which was 86 through 91. So that lasted a while.
With Sherman Helmsley.
Oh, yes. You know what? I love that show, actually. I thought that was a great show. And Dee Baxter on the WB sitcom The Wayans Brothers, which ran, 4 years, 95 to 99. She had dramatic roles on FX crime drama The Shield, playing ADA Beth and Guard Day. And CBS daytime soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful as Vivian Avant. I like that name. That's a good name. I should use that. I guess it was used. Never mind. For her, which was nominated for the Daytime Emmy of the Outstanding Special Guest Performer in a Drama Series in 2016 and Outstanding Support Actress in a Drama Series in 2017. So her first major role in television was as a producer on the PBS show Soul, which was hosted by, girl, you giving me the names here, Ellis Hazelip. We'll go with that. Which aired between 1968 and 73. One of her first television appearances was in 1973 on the first-run syndication game show To Tell the Truth, where she was actually an imposter for Laura Livingston, one of the first female military police. She then made a guest appearance on sitcoms like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Sparks, Moesha, The Bernie Mac Show, The Shield, Girlfriends, and Everybody Hates Chris. She then appeared in a number of movies. Now, the most notable was as Craig Jones's mother, Betty, in the 1995 comedy film Friday, which I've never heard of, and its sequel, Friday After Next, which was in 2002, which I've never heard of.
Never heard of the Friday movies?
No!
That's where Bye Felicia
Am I
comes
missing
from.
something? What is?
That's
what?
where Bye Felicia comes from.
Oh,
What? Okay, I have to go find
starring
those.
Dr. Dre. No, not Dr. Dre. Ice Cube. No,
Okay.
not Ice Cube. It is Dr. It's. Hold on. I'm getting all of the. Yes, it is Ice Cube. It's not
Okay.
Dr. Dre. It's Ice Cube. That's
Huh.
that's what made Ice Cube an actor instead of just a rapper.
Oh, I like him. He's good. I will look those up because I need to see them now. Okay.
Like again, that was like peak mid-90s movies that you watched it when like you and your friends got together and mom and dad are like, what are you kids watching? It's fine, don't worry about it. Like house party movies.
And don't have any of those brownies, Mom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I gotta look those up and watch those. Her other film credits include Times Square, 1980, The Fan, 1981, Presumed Innocent, 1990, Set It Off, which was in 96, and Along Came a Spider in 2001, but we can't forget And Our Family Wedding in 2010. I forgot it. More recently, she was seen in the first season of Grey's Anatomy. Really, the first season. Wow.
So, do you remember the nurse who used to work with Meredith's mom who comes in for treatment and she dies?
Oh.
The only reason I know this is because I literally just did a rewatch of Grey's Anatomy like maybe a few months ago. So she's like she's a nurse who used to work at the hospital and is now coming in because she's dying, and like everybody's coming in and be like, oh, like, are you okay? Like, let's make sure we take care of her. And like Meredith comes in and she's like, oh, you're Grey's daughter. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She's great in it. I want to say she got some like critical acclaim for that role because I think she was only on like 3 episodes, and then like when Meredith almost dies with like the whole like is it the bomb episode or whatever? No, it's when she drowns. Remember when Meredith like may or may not drown? I want to say she comes back as one of the ghosts to be like, girl, get your shit together.
Okay. I should go back and watch those.
But again, that's again. I mean, the show's been on for 20 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, she's great in Grey's Anatomy.
Cool. And then actually she returned to the big screen in 2013 in A Medea Christmas, which I have slated to watch soon. She portrayed Helen on the BET sitcom Read Between the Lines. And so she's done a lot of really good stuff. She's
what I would consider to be like Black famous, where like she's done enough stuff in like Black comedies, Black dramas, stuff where like where if there's like a movie or something that comes out that is very much like by Black directors, by Black writers. Like she's probably going to play some kind of part in it,
Wow.
especially because she played the mom on Friday.
Yeah.
That she's like kind of like Black famous. Just like we have like actors who are like gay famous.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a thing. But no, she's again. I remember when I watched this movie Stone Pillow, I was like, I know her. Why do I know her? And immediately like went to like look her up.
Yeah.
I mean, I remembered seeing her on that Sherman Helmsley show, Amen, because I remember her being the more likable actor. I used to think that Sherman Helmsley was just despicable for his character of George Jefferson
Mm-hmm.
before I could fathom the fact that people who are talented just make you not like them when they're
Right.
character.
If you hate a character, they're doing their job.
Exactly.
Right.
But
Right.
to your point about being famous in your community, if this film had been made 10 years later, I think that Anna Maria would have been Carrie instead.
Oh yeah, and probably done better.
I mean, Daphne Zuniga is not. Are we at the part where we can just talk about the?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Daphne Zuniga is not a great actress. She has her like niche, and so seeing as how Stone Pillow is also very much at the beginning of her career, this doesn't surprise me because like now she like I was talking about One Tree Hill. She's kind of found her niche of being in like these sort of like a little soapy, a little campy, where she's gonna be kind of a bitch. Whereas like trying to play a bitch when you're 20s and when you're not a high school mean girl, it's like you're just whiny. Like what's what is this? Like Princess Vespa was definitely a good part for her.
Yeah.
It definitely leaned into what she was kind of already doing, or that's just the kind of stuff that she was being given. But I mean, I loved her in Spaceballs. Like that movie is super iconic.
Yeah.
To this day, anytime like I have like a sore throat and I still have to sing something, I start off by singing "Nobody Knows." And she's a bass. She's a bass. But no, she's not great.
Yeah.
But also about Anna Marie Harsford, she also just has like sort of like that distinguishable voice of like, to me, it's like again when you're watching a movie, it's like the Black mom voice. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anytime you think of like and again, I think it's because of Friday, to be honest. But at any time I sort of like picture like that mom who's coming in and like coming home from work and like talk to her kids and be like, this is what we got to do because like I got stuff going on, like she's definitely kind of like an iconic character and archetype of movies, in my opinion.
Yes. Daphne, the thing about, I'm being a little harsh on her, of course, just because she was awful.
She's awful in this movie, 100%.
But the thing is too, though, is if you look at the styles of acting over time, you know how it evolves and changes. For 1985, what she did was acceptable. I mean, it was like on par with like if you watch Little House on the Prairie and watch that type of character, it's going to be the same type of acting. It's kind of like in the 50s where they had to throw themselves down on the bed or faint every 5 seconds from consumption.
And also like just speaking of styles of acting, the movie opens. So again, this is supposed to be a very dramatic role and a very dramatic turn for Lucille Ball. The movie opens with her doing a very Charlie Chaplin as the scamp, like playing like the super lovable homeless person and like doing bits with her eyes, and I don't know like what kind of makeup or what it looked like. It looked like a prosthetic on her forehead. Like they did their job at trying to make her not look good, which for Lucy, who is stunning, is quite a task, and they accomplished it in this movie. But it's like she's giving all of these very camp and like tropey and like kind of comedic, but it's like Lucy, you can kind of pull it back. You know, this is like a TV movie where we're trying to like get people to care about the homeless. Like,
Right.
but she's like going for it and doing like her usual like Lucy like scream and
Yes.
yelling at people, and it's like, what is this
Yeah.
movie? Again,
And her
I kind of said it
face.
earlier. You can definitely tell this movie was like Emmy bait for Lucy. Like they were trying to get her an Emmy, and it didn't work because like the movie is too ham-fisted, and
Yep.
she's too Lucy. Like you can't make Lucy not Lucy. Like you can't literally
Right.
be the pioneer of sitcom television and be somebody else. Like unfortunately, I just don't think that's a thing that you can do.
Yeah, it really, she was from that point. I mean, it was like from the beginning she was doing an I Love Lucy, the chaplain. Yeah.
She's doing a
And-
bit. She's doing a
Right.
bit.
And she never fully broke out of the comedy. I mean, she was Lucy. I mean, even when she's making faces at the woman, she's supposed to be obstinate, but she's funny as heck, you know.
Ah, yeah, she when she's pulling the bits so obviously her water bottle is like an old gin bottle or something,
Right.
and like that's a whole bit. Her eating the garbage, that's a whole bit. Her
Yes.
like what and so for me, when she does get serious, like her best like acting moments, or when she actually finally gets serious, when she's actually telling Carrie about her life, like
Mhm.
when they're in that like underground kind of place where everybody's sleeping, and then oh my gosh, again, not to skip ahead, but like Carrie's sexual assault, like
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh, like that was so dramatic.
It was.
But anyway, but like that, like Lucy being honest and earnest in that, because she's not pulling a bit. She's not, but then it's like immediately she's then flirting with the guy at the pharmacy. It's like the movie just doesn't work. It again, it's 1985, so it for its time, and like it's very, I mean, there's a reason that we kind of like in today's age make fun of these kind of like TV movies, or like
Mhm.
made for TV Hallmark, you know, made for movie specials, because like the movies like Stone Pillow kind of set the precedent for like what people are expecting,
Mhm.
where you have an hour and a half to give us a whole story, and it needs to be wrapped up in a bow, and it needs to be heartwarming, and like it's
an ending.
yeah, that ending, it's
Oh my god. That's
It
my
was like
pet
the
peeve.
dog has been adopted, and now she gets to go to
Yes!
her new home, and she's all like, ah.
the after credit scenes with her in like her own little house. I was like, shut up.
Yeah.
Were you waiting to see if she was gonna feed the birds?
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
But you know, that's my pet peeve with things like this, is that TV movie. Okay, so we spent too much time on the drama, and we're barely going to get a resolution to the story. But if you sit through the credits, you kind of get closure.
Yeah. No, the one of the parts where she actually was really good was when she's taken to the homeless shelter, and then she left there, and then she was on her own, and she was scared, and she fell, and she was like, during that part, that actually got to me. I was like, oh, you know, she's really selling it there. And for me, my family was homeless when I was a kid, and it was during that same time period. Actually, it was probably like 82, 83, right in there. And homelessness, especially homelessness, I mean, you had your tramps and your bums, but people in the mainstream like world didn't understand what being homeless was. So something like this, watching it, even though all the stuff we said is completely valid, for 1985, it probably opened some eyes, and it really needed to, because you know people just didn't understand what it was. They figured if you're a tramp, you're, you know, out there riding the trains and doing all, being a bum, but it was
And
more
so
than that.
as someone who's worked with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, like the one that hit me is the one when they're talking about the other ladies, and there's a lady who he's
Oh.
like, and this lady's okay, but his sister, she's the one that has and like they don't say that she's crazy, they say that she has problems, and she
Mhm.
just screams all the time, and they don't know like what's going on with her. I'm like, that's real, that's true.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
and like the sister won't give up the other sister, but like no one's gonna take him in. She can't get a job because she has to take care of her sister.
Mhm.
And like, you know, and the other part was when, and again they it's a little racist, but like when they're like, oh, foreigners, like they don't speak English,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then later. But Lucy stands up for the lady who can't speak English because she doesn't know. Like she's like, she doesn't know, and like she doesn't know that like that's your stuff. And again, everyone has like their mental health issues, so everybody's like fighting in the women's shelter. Like the one lady who throws the TV down, like that lady's having a psychotic break. Like
Yeah.
like she's not able to help that.
Yep.
And poor Lucy takes the blame almost.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know that, but I think this film illustrated some very important layers to the conundrum of being unhoused, of being homeless, because here Carrie is trying to give Flora an ounce of hope, but you know, as they say, she's been done wrong before. So
Right.
as Carrie is trying to say, we could do this, and you know, Flora Lucy's character is saying, no, you've got me all mixed up, you've got me all turned around. It's like you're offering somebody the possibility of hope, but if they've had a difficult enough life, you know, they've lost hope. They've had opportunities to regain it, but because they have that experience of wanting to hold on to hope, but it being so close that it slips out of their fingers, they don't want to risk the chance that this opportunity of having hope is going to make them, you know, backslide even further.
Right.
Yeah.
And also for 1985, highlighting mental health, because even Flora has her own mental health issues that
Mhm.
are
Right.
they're kind of like touched on, skirted around a bit. Like no one and like as and like Carrie's big struggle is, I think she just thinks, oh well, my job is to get these people a place to live. Like she doesn't understand that it's sort of like the from my own personal experience, how I'm relating it is like people who have eating disorders, like or people who are overeaters. It's like, well, what are you feeding? Like what's the issue behind this? And it's like these people need actual therapists, not like, oh well, here, I can help you get a job, but they can't keep that job because of the underlying mental health issues. And again, for 1985, they were again kind of skirting around those issues, like they were kind of being talked about but not really. But yeah, that it was at least good that they were mentioned.
Yeah.
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 And then, of
And
course,
like the old couple that lost their home, you know,
Right,
because
right.
of Social Security and stuff like that. It's that was a big thing happening then too.
now, did any of you notice that from some of the scenes, as you were saying, Demanda, Flora has her own issues, possibly a fragile mental state. She is sort of mothering Carrie. She's telling her about her young son that she's lost touch with, and she's relating to him because she reminds her of him. She hands her one of her worldly possessions, and it happens to be a spoon. But do you get the impression from the way that scene is played that Lucy's character doesn't necessarily know that this was not her child's baby spoon? Because it looked pretty big to me. It looked like a serving spoon.
So I think her, again, and this is all conjecture and hearsay, but
Mhm.
I think the son is dead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think her son and her husband are dead, and she just sort of like latched on to whatever, and sort of in her head said, "This spoon that I took from my house was my kid's spoon."
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was that sort of that moment, that leap of faith in the film when Carrie decides to masquerade as somebody who's, you know, underprivileged, I guess you'd say. And that was the opportunity for Lucy's character to revisit some of that mothering. It's like it was a comfortable notion to her. And so, of course, in that sense, Carrie pulled one over on her. She caught her off guard because she slipped in while she was mothering her, and she's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right. So, Carrie's character. So she takes the advice of Collins to just like go see what it's like to be on the street, and instead of and like Carrie doesn't understand that Collins isn't telling her to like go pretend to be a person who lives on the street. She's telling her to just go talk to people. She's telling you to like just have conversations. And so Carrie, of course, takes it too far. And in the 48 hours, if it's even that long, that she is pulling this off, she eats trash and gets violently ill. She gets lice, and she is sexually assaulted. It's like the writer of this movie. I'm like, sir, do we really think like that all happened in 48 hours? Like that was a lot. That was a lot.
And then after she's back at the clinic, it looks like she's learned nothing.
No, she learned absolutely nothing.
Now, am I the only one who thought, and maybe this was just Daphne Zuniga's range portraying this scene, did anyone else think that when her boss was giving her the talk that she was going to cry?
Oh, also, her boss was just as bad. He is also a terrible.
Well, you just know.
Yeah.
You just know that those two who have seen each other in states of undress.
Oh, 100. 100. And also like Carrie also gets kind of like that love interest of like the guy who comes in.
Max. Yeah. Whatever with that. Yeah.
And also the woman who runs the women's shelter. Rebecca Schull. What I remember looking her up. But like
she was on Wings.
Yes, Wings. That's what it was.
Oh my goodness! So that was kind of a experience to behold because she was playing such an opposite to her character on Wings, who was a kind-hearted person, and now she's this social worker who is just seen so much.
So hard-nosed.
So hard-nosed. And it's like she tells Lucy, we don't provide transportation. Well, you bust her in.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what third world country they bust her to. I mean, it was supposed to be like Brooklyn or something, but it was like, oh my God, this looks like Bosnia or something in the 80s.
But also to my friends who live in Manhattan, if you mention Brooklyn, it is a third world country. Like it is so far.
I once spent a week in Greenwich Village on spring break, and I got on the train, and when it was going the wrong way, and as soon as I heard Brooklyn as one of the destinations, I'm like, I gotta get off. I'm on the wrong one.
Well, but she had some really good cat food that she shared with the cat, and I was like, okay, you know what? Yes, this is legit, but the way that you threw this in here, I'm like, oh God. Okay, fancy feast, whatever.
So, moreover, in general, I would say that, Lucy was probably herself one of the stronger elements in this. Sure,
yes,
she had parts that were difficult for her because they were out of her element of being a comedic actor. But I think that some of the supporting cast could have had stronger portrayals of their roles. But overall, I think it's a mildly misunderstood film in that it's a hard subject to tackle. So if you're going to throw somebody out there doing a different genre than they're used to, of course they're not going to hit a home run their first time out. I will tell you my own feelings. on comedy versus drama. I honestly feel that while I never disliked Jim Carrey's career, I actually have enjoyed more of his serious roles than his comedic ones. There was a movie called The Majestic where he ends up through a series of events having a car accident, losing his memory, and he's trying to recover in this small town. And basically, he resembles somebody who went to war and was thought killed. Now he's suddenly the hometown hero, and he's not in a position to deny it because he's lost his memory. Meanwhile, he helps to restore this old theater that's part of the heart of this little town. So it's a cute film, majestic, and like I said, Jim Carrey is mostly associated with comedy roles, but this is one dramatic role that I thought he actually did better than most of his comedy.
Yeah, well, I think that for the Jim Carreys and the what's the heftier lady, the one that was in Ghostbusters. Actually, all of
Melissa
them were in.
McCarthy.
Yes,
Yeah.
they their thing is that they do the scene and then the director just lets them riff and change and they don't know when to cut it. They just keep going and going. And I think that that type of comedy sometimes it's awesome and sometimes you just need to edit.
I'm trying to remember what the name of the movie is since you brought up Melissa McCarthy. There's a movie and it's something bird. There's like it's about a bird. And it's even though it's still funny, it is a more dramatic turn for it. So it's about she's going through an issue. Her husband is in rehab, or he might have, or no, do you know what? I think he tried to kill himself. And there's now this bird that is staying in a tree outside of her house, and she wants to get rid of it. And so like there's definitely some comedy moments, but it's definitely a movie where you're like, oh no, she's an actress. She's not just like this.
Is it the Starling?
Whatever.
Is it the Starling?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that a lot of really, really good comedic actors can do really kick-ass drama because there is a level of pain and drama in comedy. So yeah. But Lucy just missed that though.
So there's also, I feel like there's, as I was kind of talking about this earlier, there's kind of a progression about how these sort of movies of the week have progressed. So like these movies of the week that could really be about anything. It's like they kind of split off into two genres. There's like the woman scorned or the woman who's abused by her spouse, and those kind of movies went to like Lifetime. And then there's the feel good rom-coms kind of stuff that kind of went to the Hallmark Channel.
Right. Yeah.
So because like, you know, we don't really have like movies of the week anymore.
Right.
And I feel like the reason that a lot of those movies have a very basic formula to them is because of movies like Stone Pillow, where they kind of wanted to say something, and so they wanted to make something different, and they wanted to like make a statement, but also like still like make like a little bit of a feel-good movie, and it's kind of clunky, whereas they know that these like, you know, forgive the phrase, but like battered woman movies on Lifetime, and who gets, and then the husband gets his comeuppance, or the feel good, you know, hard-nosed city woman goes back to her hometown, but by the end learns the true meaning of Christmas. Like there's a reason that those movies work and that they're copy and pasted over and over again, is because they know that the audience is going to get it, and they don't have to think that hard, and we're not putting something in front of them that they are going to be confronted by. And it's sort of comforting to sort of watch those things.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I don't mind the Christmas movies that are churned out. They're so formula, they're so basic, they're so simple, and yet they're just comforting and nice.
it's something to put on like while you're crafting, while you're like decorating your tree, while you're doing stuff. Like there was a time a friend of mine came over. She was sewing a costume for me while I was like working on the hair for it, and I had like one of those, again, Netflix rom-coms, and so she's sewing and she goes, "Oh, are we at the part yet where like she finds out the deep secret of the guy yet?" And I was like, "Oh no, we're not there yet." Neither of us had seen the movie before.
But you knew what was coming. Yeah. What did you think about the part where they actually tackled the bathroom issue, and Lucy was about to do her business in a little nook, and then somebody stole her cart, and that other woman stole her cart. I was like, I'm surprised they did that.
Yeah, I was wondering whether or not they were gonna like
go
say
there,
where it is, because the thing is, so again, working with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and like all the training that you have to do with that, the most vulnerable place for a person is in a bathroom. So that's why like a lot of folks don't like to use public restrooms, because like that's where you're most vulnerable. So you need, and like you don't have protection. And why in my case of the people that I used to support and work for, that's why it's like, well, these people are alone with you at their most vulnerable, like in a secluded place. So it's like it is true. Like when that happened, when she went to the bathroom, I was like, oh no, her cart's out there all by itself. Like where does she park it? Where does she hide it?
Yeah.
You know, that just reminds me of a story my sister used to tell. She was a young mom and, you know, had her moment where she had to go. And of course, when you have resources, you make use of them. And so apparently there was a box of diapers in the car, and well, let's just let you draw to your own conclusions.
Oh, you do what you gotta do, girls.
Oh, now to your point though about TV movies, Amanda, I will use this example. I'm not a huge Bill Murray fan, but one of my favorite 80s movies is a Christmas movie that just happens to have Bill Murray. It's Scrooged, and it happens to have Alfred Woodard in it in a fabulous role.
And Carol Kane.
Yes, but the funny thing is that the whole story is about this network station that's doing their own version of Christmas Carol. And they've got this absurd cast of all these names. And who do they have playing Tiny Tim? Mary Lou Retton.
Oh, that was funny.
Alrighty. Well, we are out here at the lobby. And so before we say our good nights, we're going to mention other taping programs you might enjoy if Stone Pillow was something kind of up your alley. So after my sip of iced coffee, and I get my lungs back because, you know, I got asthma. Okay, so I will give my honorable mention here. This is a film from 2007 with John Leguizamo, speaking of a comedic actor who can do well in drama, Where God Left His Shoes. When Frank, Angela, and their 2 children are evicted from their New York City apartment, they have no choice but to move into a homeless shelter. After a few difficult months, good news comes their way on Christmas Eve. A nearby housing project has an opening. If only Frank can find a job, they can qualify. By the way, he's illiterate. So 2007, Where God Left His Shoes.
Oh, that sounds lovely. All right. Well, for me, I would like to recommend a fabulous movie from the same time period, 1984, called The Dollmaker. So Jane Fonda, in an Emmy-winning performance as a pioneer woman and a mother of 5, from the Kentucky hills, who was forced to uproot her children to follow her husband Clovis, Leon Helm, to Detroit, where he finds work during World War II. One setback follows another, and shattering tragedy strikes the family. It's all up to Gertie to find new strength, courage, and determination to keep her family together and strong. And it actually is an amazing, absolutely amazing movie. So heart-wrenching as well.
And I will say that Jane Fonda is one of those people. I don't think that I've seen a film I didn't like her in.
Yeah.
So, Jamanda, do you have any honorable mentions? Anything?
So the only thing, so like watching this film, I was trying to like come up with something that like kind of reminded me of it, and it's a very, it doesn't have a lot of relation to it, but in my mind it had the same kind of like feeling. So if you're someone who enjoys a very ham-fisted, hammer over the head message. The episode of Dawson's Creek, I want to say it's in season 5 or season 6, so it's definitely in the college years. It is the only episode that the only series regular is Katie Holmes. She is kidnapped at gunpoint by this guy at an ATM. And she like gets like a bit of Stockholm syndrome where like she's like kind of feeling sorry for him, but then like he's still like a bad person. It's the whole episode is so overwrought and terrible, but also like trying to make a social statement about something, and it like kind of misses the mark. It's a little clunky. It's also because Dawson's Creek, when it went to the college years in seasons 5 and 6, it shifted its focus from Dawson to Joey. I don't know if it was because James Vanderbeek wanted like less, or if they were really trying to push Katie Holmes into like being like a bigger superstar. But everything about those last 2 seasons are so awkward, because it's called Dawson's Creek, but it's like all about Joey. It's all about Joey in college, and it's just it's one of those very special episodes, and it just feels awkward and out of place. And that's kind of what this movie made me feel.
Kind of like stealing your sandwich and get to the birds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah.
All right. So, we have this bit we do, speaking of Lucy, where we tell you what's coming up next. So, the Marionette Theater has been host to many fabulous things before: vaudeville, Magic X. We have a bag of coins here that helps figure out what's coming up next. Matt, will you grab the bag that's up there on that shelf for me?
Oh. Okay.
Here we go. All right, we're going to put the coin in the machine. All right, so we are just about to, in another week or two here, have a hijacked holiday, because it actually belonged to the pagans first. And, well, the Holy Roman Church decided, no, you can't have a holiday. It's ours now.
Yes.
But some of us call it Christmas, others call it Crema, the holidays. Think of it what you will. So, Matt,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about what's coming up next year, including the line above where it says next time on.
Oh, yes. Well, next time on Matinee Minutia, well, we're on mini winter break, so we won't be here. Sorry. Our next episode actually is Friday, January 19th, 2024, in the new year. But, yeah.
Because while everybody else, except for the Chinese, are celebrating New Year's, they're really celebrating my birthday, because that's the day.
Yes. Wait, isn't your anniversary soon, too?
Nope.
No, that's in August.
Yep.
Okay, just checking. All right, did you want me to continue?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, so next time, actually, January 19th, 2024, we will have an early 70s crime drama and mystery TV series. The San Francisco Police Commissioner, Stuart Mac McMillan. Oh, gosh, he was hot. Oh, and his amateur detective wife keep their marriage unpredictable while solving the city's most baffling crimes, starring Rock Hudson and Susan St. James. McMillan and Wife, with returning guest Paul, the Shy Life podcast. Okay, sorry, let me redo that. with returning guest Paul the Shy Yeti from the Shy Life podcast. Yay! We love Paul.
Insert applause here. All right. So, before the Uber shows up to take Demand off to her private plane,
Yes.
please do let the listeners know, Demanda, how they can follow you legally without a restraining order.
Sure. So, again, this is my, I don't know, 27th appearance on this show.
Yeah.
It's it's
She's
like 8.
she's now AI.
Yeah. But anyway, so you can come find me across all social media platforms at Demanda Martini. That's DMANDAMARTINI. Coming up this year, so my goal in 2023 was to travel a lot with drag, and I did it. So I'm going to be doing more of it in 2024. In February, in the first week or second weekend of February is Farpoint Convention. So if you are in the Baltimore area, I will be hosting the annual drag show there. It's called To Farpoint and Beyond. I will be doing a nude illusion, Luoxana Troy. So please come out to support. I have an amazing cast, including my friends Logan Stone, Charlemagne Chateau, Tiffany D. Carter, and Dax exclamation point. So again, please come find me there. This year, I'm going to be going to WonderCon in Anaheim, California in March. A guest appearance that I can't talk about yet because it hasn't been announced, but I will be traveling to the Midwest to do that, and I will be making another appearance in May in Portland, Oregon. So more things to come, but come find me. I have tons of stuff going on. Would love to see you guys.
When you're doing Luxana, you should have like a little like urn, and then just say that Odo's in it. Remember the dress episode where he informed her dress?
My friend who does an Odo, we've never been able to get to the same cons together to do Luoxana and Odo. He does a great Odo. His name is Stonecutter Cosplay. For those of you who are Star Trek fans and enjoy cosplay, it's so good. We need to get together to actually do it.
That would be awesome.
When Deep Space Nine was still in its initial run, I actually preferred the pairing of Odo and Luoxana. I wish the opportunity had existed for them to be a couple, because him and Kira, that was like Deanna Troi and Worf, if you ask me.
So awkward.
Yeah.
But that would be excellent if that could ever work out, Demanda. Can you imagine the sequel is The Wedding That Never Happened, Odo and Luoxana?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, and if you've been listening through this whole episode, Matt was kind enough to return to us from our last episode. He's filling in some big shoes. Matt, where can the listeners find you, just in case they've been living under a rock and maybe don't recognize your voice?
Well, you can find me over at chubsgonewild.com for the podcast that embraces everybody and celebrates all sizes, all people, no matter who you are. And then you can go over to the Big Gay Sex Show, The Daddy Years, where you can check Ouija and I talking about dirty stuff and also sex education type stuff, but in a dirty way. And go to justkisstheguy.com and you can check out all my books and articles and other things that are out there.
Okay. Well, we did not talk about a happy, jolly film because that's what everyone else is doing. And, some of us have anxiety and we're over in the corner while the party's happening. So we had to keep our eyes on reality here. We wanted you to experience the discomfort of Lucy being an unhoused person on the streets and, underprivileged. But we wish everyone a very happy holiday season. Stay safe, be mindful of others, and, if your family is too toxic, retail therapy works.
Tempting.
We're going to stop here.
Thank you for listening to Matinee Minutia.
Our show streams live on the first and third Friday of the month.
Go to matineeminutia.com, click the YouTube icon for live video, enter Discord or chat.
You can find our show anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Visit our webpage at matineeminutia.com.
Tweet us on Twitter at Matinee Minutia.
Find our group on Facebook.
Have an idea for a show? Or why not let us know how we're doing?
Email us at matineeminutia@gmail.com.